Hello friends. So, till now in this course of research methods in agricultural extension and social sciences, we in length and breadth we discussed about the various aspects of the social science research, different methods, design and many other things. But most of the aspect we covered till now, that was mainly targeted towards the quantitative social research, because most of the research in the social sciences are quantitative in nature. But the complexity of the social sciences or the complexity of the society, human being cannot be captured fully by only following the quantitative methods. So, there is another dimension of the research which we introduced when we differentiated between different type of research, that is the qualitative aspect. So, to fulfill, or if we do not cover that qualitative aspect of the social scientific research, okay, so this course may remain inadequate. Okay. So, to fulfill that inadequacy, okay, and to give you understanding about a new horizon of the research which is nowadays gaining popularity in the social research field, that is qualitative research, I have invited a renowned expert, Professor Basav-Prabhu Jhilli, who is currently director of CMDR Dharwad and who is also a professor in Department of Extension Education, Institute of Agriculture Sciences, BHU, okay, to shed some light on this particular qualitative research aspect. So, he will deliver 3 important lecture on this particular qualitative research, what it is, what are the techniques nowadays gaining popularity for carrying out the qualitative research. So, I hereby invite Professor Jhilli to proceed further with this particular session.
Hello friends, I welcome you all to this course on social science and agricultural extension research methods. Thank you Dr. Saikat for introducing me to discuss 3 lectures on qualitative research. Friends, I will be beginning with what is and why qualitative research that we need to use in agricultural extension or social sciences in general. So, when we look into the qualitative aspects of research, it is totally different from the quantitative aspects. So, quantitative aspects have certain limitations, have certain advantages, but when we compare it with the qualitative aspects, so a new dimension that we start getting. What is that? How social science research is different from the quantitative research. When we look into either it is a mathematical science, physical science or chemical science or any of the features of science, so then we will get the answers. If we add 1 plus 1, obviously we are going to get 2, whether it is in mathematics or physics or chemistry or in whatever statistics, whatever the discipline that we are talking about. But when we look into social sciences, the answer is obviously it is not equal to 2. It may be more than 1, more than 2 or more than less than 2 also. These are the possibilities. So, now the question arises how and why, how it is possible when we add 1 plus 1. So, obvious only answer has to be 2, but we are not getting it. Why? Just I will be telling you some of the basic facts. I hope you are all aware of this, or you might have discussed all these things in one or the other context, but let us understand it. 1 plus 1 may become 11 in social sciences. When it becomes 11, when we take the team work or when we look into the organization, bringing people together. If 2 people come together, definitely the strength is going to be increased. So, that is why we say that 1 plus 1 may become 11. So, in case of the love and affection aspects, 1 plus 1 may become 1, because we are coming together, may it be the activity of the extension worker with the farmers or his stakeholders. When he mingles with them, he becomes 1. So, there are no 2 units, it becomes 1. So, that is what is the love that the extension worker has with his stakeholders. So, 1 plus 1 may become 0. We take it to the spirituality. in philosophical terms. So, we consider it as a spiritual aspect. Then there is another possibility. What is that? One is not allowed to meet one. So, this is what we call it as diplomacy. So, many times it happens strategically we avoid people coming together, two individuals coming together. If they come together, so something may happen, something better may happen or something bad may happen. So, that is what we call it as diplomacy. So, when one becomes opposite of one, so we say that it is the political situation, because so the otherwise these two people would have come together, but they are not coming together because of the political issues and various other things. So, this is what. So, these are the various possibilities of addition that we have in case of social sciences or the qualitative research aspects. This we are missing in case of quantitative research methods. In case of qualitative research, the teamwork has a lot of implications. We pay much emphasis on the teamwork. So, let me give you an example. When A works hard, so he can become A square, means he can become double. Obviously, his hard work is going to yield it. Then similarly, another individual B is also working hard and he is also becoming B square. So, now comes the role of teamwork here. When A plus B both work together in a very hard manner, so then you are going to get two additional factors, that is A square obviously because A is working hard, B square obviously because B is also working hard, but there is one more addition that what we are getting 2AB. So, this is what is the implication of teamwork. So, these are some of the issues that we need to take into consideration while taking up the research methods in a qualitative manner. Coming to what exactly this qualitative research is. It is basically a method of inquiry that focuses on understanding human behavior, which is very complex in nature. Which is very complex in nature and it is highly dynamic. Number one, it is complex. Number two, it is very dynamic. It keeps on changing at regular intervals. It may change in a day, it may change in a week, or it may change, it will take its own time. So, basically understanding human behavior, experiences and the social phenomenon from perspective of those involved, because whatever the studies that what we are taking up, it is for the benefit of ultimately the stakeholder. The stakeholders are human beings. So, when we understand their behavior in qualitative terms, then we can take the better decisions. Basically, it is an exploratory method which is used to gain insights into the people's attitude, behavior, values and motivations. So, these are the components of this behavior that what we are studying, that is what is the unit of research, that is human being. The unit of research in case of social sciences is human being and we are studying his behavior, which is very complex in nature. This is what I said. Three important components that we come across: knowledge, skill and attitude. So, when you start gaining the experiences, you keep on adding to your knowledge base. So, when you start doing things with your involvement, you start gaining the skills, but attitude is very complex because your mind is involved, what kind of perceptions that you are developing to begin with. So, that becomes your attitude. It may be in a positive direction or it may be in a negative direction. Then the magnitude of the social problems exceeds the capacity of the social scientists to solve them. So, that is what is the magnum that we need to understand, because it is not that easy to address. Social sciences focus on the issues like poverty, which is very complex in nature. We cannot attribute a particular factor for the poverty. Likely, similarly, livelihood security. So, number of factors are involved there, including economics, including agriculture, including infrastructure, other facilities, number of things, racial segregation, discrimination, urban decay, human and mechanical pollution of the environment, and perceived increase in the incidence of crime, violence, etc., etc. So, number of such things that we keep on studying, it is ultimately for the benefit of society. Then why we should use this qualitative research? Number one reason is depth of understanding. Quantitative research, everything converts into numericals and based on the numericals it gives the results, but the qualitative research provides deep understanding of the complex issues by exploring the meaning, concept, definitions, characteristics, all these things are possible. Ultimately, we need to describe it. We need to have the holistic understanding of what we are studying, otherwise we cannot take up the research activities. Then contextual insight. What is that? It helps in understanding the environment in which people live and how it influences their action. So, this is what is very, very important, because there are different situations that we keep on coming across from time to time in different places. Maybe the issue is poverty, but the reasons for poverty in one particular state are different and in other states it is going to be different. So, this is what we are referring to as the contextual insights. Then flexibility. So, this is what is the beauty of social science research. We can say that it allows new insights as and when it emerges during the study. So, there itself we keep on modifying and we keep on adding the things. Then the richness of the data, which is another important factor. We use this qualitative research because it produces very rich data which helps in explaining not just what people think, but why they think in that particular direction. So, this is very, very important. So, using quantitative method, we can predict what people can think about based on their behavior, but why they think so. So, this is what we get, this kind of insights we get from qualitative research. It is exploratory in nature because none of the things that we can predict here, as it is dealing with the human behavior, and human behavior keeps on changing at regular intervals. Then it is a human experience which captures the human experience and perspectives. In every individual, so has a particular viewpoint on a particular issue. So, how he is looking at that particular thing, that we will be studying under this qualitative research. So, these are some of the basic comparison factors with the qualitative and quantitative research. So, you are having a lot of exposure towards quantitative research by various lectures. So, now let us focus on this. What are the basis for comparison for qualitative and quantitative research? The meaning itself, as I have already mentioned you, it is a method of inquiry that develops understanding of human and the social sciences to find out way the people think as well as feel. So, we are trying to enter into the behavior of an individual with these methods, and we are trying to come out with the possible reasons why it is so. Then when you look into the nature of this qualitative research, it is holistic in nature, but in case of quantitative research it is particularistic, because they are focusing on a particular issue, but it is inclusiveness that we find here. The approach is subjective here because we keep it is flexible also, we have already said, but the approach in case of quantitative research is very objective, very objective. The research type, it is in case of qualitative research, it is exploratory in nature, but in quantitative it is conclusive. Everything that we need to have a particular definition and conclude it. Then reasoning is inductive because sky is the limit for that. So, that is why it is inductive, but in case of quantitative it is deductive, because we start with general things and we come to the specific thing, but here we are starting with the specific and moving towards the general. Then the sampling is largely purposive in case of qualitative research, but in case of quantitative research we use both purposive as well as random sampling. The data is in the form of verbal or visuals, etc., but here it is which is measurable in quantitative terms. The method of inquiry is process oriented here, but in case of quantitative research it is result oriented. Here in case of qualitative research, the hypothesis is generated, but in case of quantitative research we test the hypothesis. The elements of analysis includes words, pictures, objects or behavioral patterns, but in case of quantitative research obviously it is numerical data only. The objective of qualitative research is to explore and discover ideas used in the ongoing process, and in case of quantitative research the objective is to examine the cause and effect relationship between the variables under study. The methods that we use, we are going to have a detailed discussion on that, in-depth interviews, focus group discussions, etc., but in case of quantitative research it is survey, questionnaire, observation, etc. The ultimate result of this qualitative research is to develop insights, initial understanding of the unit under study, but in case of quantitative research which recommends the final course of action. So, observation, which is the strength of qualitative research, if we look into these concepts, maybe it is soft power, social learning, behavioral modeling, nudge theory, grounded theory, social marketing, all these things are focusing on the knowledge empowerment for taking appropriate decisions, but they are based on the observations only. So, just I would like to put two short stories before you. There is one author in the state of Karnataka who is popularly known as Sarvajna. He writes Doha type of things similar to Kabir ke Dohe in 3 lines. So, that is why it is popularly known as Tripadis. So, in one of the Tripadis, he says that, I will tell you in Kannada, so then explain it in English. So, Sarvajna says that, Sarvajnanembavanu garvadinda adane, sarvaralondu nudigaletu vidyaya parvatave ada sarvajna. What does it mean? If you want to accumulate the knowledge, you have to learn from each and every one that you are coming across, because they are also having sufficient qualities or inputs, knowledge, everything. So, try to understand the knowledge that the person before you. So, then you observe that, then try to understand and gain it. So, this is what Sarvajna says. And there is a popular story that you might have heard about, the Shastrartha between Shankaracharya and Mandan Mishra ji. So, that happened. So, some people say it is in MP, some people say it is in UP, some people say it is in Bihar, but the things that happened, what was that? So, both are the great scholars of Sanskrit, but both wanted to have discussion on pertinent issues. Then, when the Shastrartha goes on, so who is going to decide who is the winner and who is the loser? The wife of Mandan Mishra takes the seat of judge and the Shastrartha begins. So, before the Shastrartha, so both of them are going to wear a garland of fresh flowers. So, and it continues for many days. Then one fine morning, so the wife of Mandan Mishra declares her own husband as he is the loser and Shankaracharya as the winner. So, what is the base of this? So, when we look into the content of discussion, that is a technical part, we are not going into that. The key observation that wife of Mandan Mishra done is the fresh flowers garland which Mandan Mishra was wearing, so that was getting pale. Why? Because there were certain mistakes that he did in his discussion, in his deliberations, but he was not ready to accept it as a mistake. Because of that, he was developing the anger and his body was getting heated, and because of that heat, the flowers were getting pale color. So, that is why she said that now he is the loser. So, how minute the observation should be. So, this is what is the importance of observation in case of social sciences. When it comes to observation, we think that we have to see at the microscope only. Yes, that is for the life sciences, that is for physical sciences. We do agree it has its own relevance, but in case of social sciences also, so there is need for critical observation. Then coming to the methods used in qualitative research. Basically, it is interviews. I am sure all of you are familiar with this. So, there are 3 types of interviews that we come across. Number 1 is the structured interview, wherein everything is in an organized manner. Second one is semi-structured, wherein we do not know many things, we have some understanding about the issues, fair understanding about the issues. So, we are exploring many things, and in case of unstructured interview, it is a typical conversation without any organized effort. So, what we do in this unstructured interview, conversation and everything is open ended, because we do not have much idea about that. So, this is the one of the method. Then coming to the second one, that is focus group discussions, wherein we are going with a specific objective to interact with a group of people, a team of people. So, then we try to develop the insights regarding the issue under discussion. Then ethnographic studies, generally taken up by the disciplines like anthropology, wherein the term that is used is immersive observation, means you have to immerse yourself into the cultural aspects of that particular community wherein you are conducting the study. Maybe it is a village setting, maybe in a tribal setting, maybe it is a forest, wherever it is, you have to be part and parcel of that. So, that is what is the ethnographic studies focus upon. Then participant observation, because to develop appropriate insights into the issues under research, So, you need to be part and parcel of that particular culture wherein you are going to take up the study. Then case studies, it is basically an in-depth exploration of one particular case, maybe it is an individual or an institution, that depends, or maybe couple or few such cases wherein we are going to have an in-depth study of that. Then the content analysis, which is involving basically analysis of the text or media documents, videos, all these things that we can take up based on the pattern that they use, the theme that they use, what kind of meaning that it is generating, all these things are part of content analysis. The narrative analysis focuses on the stories that people tell and make sense of their experiences, because storytelling is one of the very beautiful part of Indian communication system. So, how they are transmitting these knowledges from generation to generation, so that we get it through narrative analysis. Then grounded theory and nudge theory, that we will be discussing in detail in my subsequent lectures, which aims at development of theories, Then what are the challenges before this qualitative research? First one is defining the research question. So, now you must be telling that I am a researcher, do not you think that I do not have the ability to define the research question, for which in case of qualitative method you should have the thorough understanding of the issue under discussion, which is very complex in nature. You need to understand its scope and depth, everything, then only you can define it. So, that is what is one of the biggest challenge. Then second one is selecting the appropriate method. I have given you the list of 9 methods there. So, out of which method is suitable for the topic or the issue that you are considering for your study. Then access to participants. So, this is the most typical challenge every social science research is going to observe it is, because gaining access and building trust with the participants and getting appropriate response from the participants is the most difficult task, that what we can say. Then ethical consideration, because we are entering into their cultural system, we are studying about the demographic details, family aspects, then the relationships, all these things. So, ethical considerations are another important challenge that we need to keep in mind. Then resource allocation, because it takes very lengthy time to understand a particular social system by becoming part of that, which needs the resources like time, finance, everything, and the manpower. All these things are very, very essential. So, that is how many times it becomes very costly affair also. Researcher bias, it can happen at any point of time in case of qualitative as well as quantitative, because it is the human nature that we have. So, it is one of the challenge that we need to keep in mind, so that we can minimize or nullify that. Then management of the data in case of social science or qualitative research is another important aspect, because it is everything in the form of text or visuals or all different things. It is not in, it cannot be taken to Excel sheets. So, that is why its storage, its organization and its analysis, that itself is a very difficult task, that what we can say. Cultural sensitivity is another issue. Being aware of and being sensitive to the cultural differences, norms, is very, very important in case of taking up the qualitative research. To conclude, I would like to say that so far we have discussed about the research methods, which are basically means to achieve the ends or the objectives that you are taking up, maybe in a qualitative using qualitative methods or the quantitative methods, but quantitative methods have its own advantages as well as limitations. And so, now we are focusing on the qualitative methods. Then if you want to master yourself on qualitative methods, learning by doing is the only way, then you can believe it by seeing. So, this is the only option that we all have. Then participation is key for social science research outcomes as well as outputs, because if I want to have the desired output, so I need to focus on outcomes as well as outputs both, because outcomes are intangible in nature and outputs are tangible in nature. We need to focus on both, and with that, when we ensure the participation of the intended target groups, so then we get the desired results in case of social science research. With this, I am coming to the conclusion of first discussion on qualitative research. In our next class, we will be discussing about nudge theory. Thank you.